Story Narae, the art of storytelling, heartwarming audiobooks.
Welcome to Story Narae Heartwarming Audiobooks. Today, we bring you The Secret of Old Cornille by Alphonse Daudet. In a quiet village in southern France, an old man guards a secret that no one had imagined. Let us open the book and begin the story. The Secret of Old Cornille. From time to time, Franzi Mamai, an old flute player, comes to visit me. We share a sweet glass of wine, and he tells me stories from the old days. Just a few days ago, sitting here in my mill, he told me a story that happened nearly 20 years ago. It moved me deeply. And so, I now share it with you exactly as I heard it from him. Dear friends, even if just for a little while, imagine yourself sitting in front of a barrel of fragrant wine, listening to the story of a man who played the flute. Back then, our village wasn't as desolate as it is now. The flour trade was booming, and farmers came from far and wide. Some from as far as 100 leagues to grind their wheat here. No matter where you looked, you could see windmills spinning in the wind. The north wind blew from the pine forest and turned the large sails. And along the hills you could see long lines of donkeys, carrying sacks of wheat on their backs. It was such a joyful time. From Monday to Saturday, you could hear the cracking of whips on the hilltops, the hum of windmill sails, and the clatter of the workers in the mills. And on Sundays, people came in groups to the mills just for fun. The millers would pour white wine for everyone, and their wives would wear lace shawls or golden crosses, looking like queens. It was such a joyful time, he said. On Sundays, everyone would gather at the mills, just for fun. The millers would offer everyone a glass of white wine. Their wives wore lacy shawls or golden crosses, looking like queens. Every time I visited the mill, I brought my flute, and the people danced the farandole until late into the night. Do you understand? The mills were not just buildings, they were the heart of the village, the source of joy, work, and life itself. But then came trouble. A few men from Paris set up a steam-powered flour mill on the road to Tarascon. They said it was faster, cheaper, more efficient. And little by little, the farmers began to send their wheat there. Our people tried to resist. But how could old windmills fight against steam engines? The donkeys vanished from the roads. The millers' wives sold their golden crosses. The white wine dried up. There was no more music, no more dancing. The sails of the windmills no longer turned, even when the strongest winds blew. And one by one, the mills were shut down, abandoned. The officials came and destroyed them, planting grapevines and olive trees where the mills once stood. Only one mill kept turning. The mill of Old Cornille. He had been a miller for 60 years. The mill was his pride. He loved it more than anything. When the steam mill opened, he tried to warn everyone. Don't go near those machines, he shouted. They use fire and steam instead of God's wind. They are the devil's invention. But no one listened. So he locked himself in his mill. He even sent away his only granddaughter, Vivette. She was just 15 years old, and had no one else in the world, but had to make a living on her own. So she helped with the harvest at farms, raised silkworms, and picked olives. In fact, Vivette's grandfather deeply loved his young granddaughter. Even on scorching hot days, he would walk a long distance just to see her working on the farm. When he was with her, he would gaze at her for hours. People thought the old miller avoided living with her to save money. They criticized him, believing he left her to suffer hardships at such a young age while working from farm to farm. People thought old Cornille was mad. He wore a ragged hat and a torn belt. Walking alone through the village. Even during Sunday Mass, he sat at the back, among the poor. But strangely, his mill kept turning. No one brought wheat, yet the sails spun. Sometimes, in the evening, people saw him walking up the path with a donkey and a sack of flour. When asked how he still had work, he'd smile and say, "I export. I have foreign clients." The villagers began to whisper among themselves, "How is that windmill still running? Where is the grain coming from?" Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said the sacks were filled with money, not flour. Others believed old Cornille was secretly working for wealthy merchants from the city. People made up all sorts of wild stories. Then one evening, as the youth danced to the sound of my flute, I noticed something. My eldest son and Cornille's granddaughter, Vivette, had fallen in love. To be honest, I didn't mind. The Cornille family was respected, and Vivette, she was a sweet and graceful girl. I could already picture her smile warming up our home. Still, something had to be done. I couldn't let them keep sneaking around. So I climbed the hill to speak with old Cornille myself. He didn't even open the door. I had to explain my intentions through the keyhole. Above me, his cat glared down like a little demon. Then old Cornille shouted, "Go back home and play your flute. And if you're in a hurry to get your son married, go to the steam mill. You'll find plenty of brides there." I was furious, but I kept my temper in check and returned home, telling the children everything. They were heartbroken but determined. "We'll talk to him ourselves," they said. I gave them permission. That same afternoon, the children went to the windmill. Cornille wasn't there, but he had left a ladder propped against the wall. They climbed up and peeked through the window. And what did they see? No sacks of flour. Not a single grain of wheat. The millstones were thick with dust, and a skinny old cat lay sleeping on top. In the corner a few ripped bags, stuffed with rubble, broken plaster, and trash from other mills. That was his secret. He'd been carrying junk up the hill at night, pretending to grind wheat, just to keep the windmill turning. Poor, proud old man. The children came back in tears and told me everything. The next morning, I gathered the villagers. Together, we agreed we would bring real grain and fill his mill with honest work again. We loaded the donkeys with golden wheat and made our way up the hill to the mill. The door was open. Inside, we found old Cornille, sitting with his face buried in his hands, weeping in silence. He knew his secret had been discovered. "Oh, what disgrace," he whispered. "I have nothing left. Even my windmill must be ashamed of me." Then he heard the donkeys arriving. We rushed inside, shouting his name. "Cornille, look, we've brought you wheat." He looked up slowly, then stared at the sacks. He grabbed a handful of grain and laughed as the tears streamed down his cheeks. "Thank heaven. Real wheat. I knew you'd come back. Those steam mill devils, they won't win forever." With trembling hands, he opened the sacks, ran to the millstone, and started the sail spinning once more. That day, we all cried tears of joy. From then on, we never let his mill go empty again. But one quiet morning, old Cornille passed away in his sleep. And with him, our village's last windmill faded into history. That's how the world goes. Everything must come to an end. Just like the flower-decked boats on the Rhone. Old Cornille's windmill, too, drifted into the past. This story beautifully portrays the vanishing traditions in the face of industrialization, and our deep human attachment to them. As a new era unfolds, it reminds us how important it is to protect and cherish what we've inherited. The secret of Old Cornille. Did it leave a quiet echo in your heart? Story Narae will return with another story soon. Your subscription and likes are warm encouragements. Thank you.